Good afternoon, or good morning, or good evening, or whenever you're choosing to do this family Jesus time with your young ones. This introduction is for our third lesson. We've been looking at the 10 commandments, and today we're going to the commandments that talk about our relationships with other people around us. That means the connections we have or the friendships we have with the people we come in contact with every day. The first three commandments that we had been talked about our relationship with God and how we were connected with God, but now we're talking about how we connect with each other. The fourth commandment we're going to spend a little bit more time with, because that's kind of a transition one, because it's talking about how we are to honor our father and mother and other people in authority. That means we should listen to what our mom and dad tells us to do, or our teachers, or for us adults, for your parents, we're to listen to our government officials, our pastors, our bosses. We're to listen to those people that God has placed in authority over us. And that is a bridge. You know, when you go from one place to another, you take a bridge over. Well, that honoring our father and mother is that bridge from the commandments to deal with our relationship with God to the commandments to deal with our relationship with each other. Because you see, that fourth commandment is the only one with a promise. It tells us that if we honor our father and mother, we will live long and we will have prosperous lives. So in different words than that, it means that our lives will be good. Now think about it. When you do what your mom and dad want you to do, are things better at your house or worse? More importantly, if you do stuff you know you're not supposed to do, you know things get worse at your house. We're given this command because it teaches us how to be respectful of people around us, but it also teaches us to keep in mind, do you know one of the main things your mom and dad want to do for you is to help you grow up to have a good life? So when they want you to do something, when they're trying to teach you how to do something, when they are helping you learn how to follow rules and do things like that, they're actually doing it so that you can have a cool life. When your parents say don't do that, it's not because they want to prevent you from having fun, it's because they want you to be safe. They want you to have a good life. So when we're told to honor our father and mother, that's why. We're told to honor our father and mother, our parents, our teachers, other people in authority. That helps us to keep all the rest of the commandments if we're showing honor to those who are in authority over us. Now the rest of the commandments, and you're going to look at each commandment and talk about it a little bit with your mom and dad today. I'm not going to get into that a lot. But what I am going to get into is the summary. That means, how do we take all those commandments and bring them down to one thing that's easy to remember? And in the New Testament, the second part of the commandments are summarized by this simple thing: love your neighbor as yourself. Now that is easier said than done, because sometimes it's hard to love our neighbors. I have a neighbor whose dog barks every time I go into the backyard. And it's kind of hard to love that neighbor because of that barky dog. It drives me crazy. But that doesn't mean I shouldn't. That just means it's a little bit harder. I should still love them. It's just going to take me a little bit more work. I gotta tell you though, and this is a little story from when I was a little kid. I was probably maybe 9 years old, and we were playing outside, and I had two neighbors. Well, one lived right next to me, and the one lived 2 houses down from me. And we called one of them Aunt Elsie. And she was really nice, grandma kind of lady, and she was nice to the kids. And then the next lady down, she did not want to be called Aunt. She wanted us to call her Dora. That was her first name, Dora. She was an older German lady, and she talked with a German accent. And both of these ladies had one of the most beautiful lawns you would ever see. They worked really hard to make sure their lawn and their garden always looked beautiful. But what we didn't know was they did not like each other at all. And one day, I still remember it, because it wasn't nice, but I'll tell you, it was funny, okay? Because let me tell you what happened. We were outside playing, and Elsie and Dora got into an argument about whose garden looked better or something like that. And the argument was getting pretty bad. And all of a sudden, Dora took her hose, her garden hose, and shot Elsie with it right in the face. Well, not quite in the face. It kind of hit her right about here. I did not know that Elsie wore a wig. And on that day, Dora shot Elsie's wig off of her head with a garden hose. That was funny. Just thinking about it. Now, were those two ladies showing love to each other? No. Could their lives have been better if they would have been friends with each other instead of enemies? Oh, without a doubt their lives would have been better because they had so much in common. They loved working outside. They loved working in their garden. They were actually both Lutheran. But they had decided they were going to be enemies, and that made their lives very difficult for each other. Because when Elsie's husband died, she didn't have a friend right next to her to talk to. When Dora's husband died, she didn't have a friend right next to her to talk to because instead of being friends, they become enemies. So when God tells us to love our neighbor, it's not just for our neighbor that we're called to love them, it's for us too. Because when we love our neighbor, it makes our lives so much more joyful. So today you're going to look at different ways we love our neighbor, and at the end of the lesson you're going to think of some things that you can do to show your neighbor love. Now here's something I don't want you to do. And this is for some of you. I'm thinking, Jude. I'm thinking Gunner. I'm thinking Talon. Do not try to shoot your neighbor's wig off with the garden hose. That is not showing love to your neighbor, okay? But you can leave your neighbors notes. Maybe you can do little jobs for them. Maybe you can do stuff. Just think of ways that you can just make your neighbors' lives more joyful, even if it's just for a couple minutes. See what you can do to show love for your neighbor. I look forward to hearing what you do to show that love to your neighbor. You can email me, you can put it on Facebook, you can send me pictures. Just want to know what you're doing out there. Hope you guys have a great rest of the week. It was good to spend some time with you today. Have a good lesson with your family. Talk to you later.